Yes, I can start.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I take immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the Exploring Horizon, the impact of research in higher education and its career paths, organized by Research Club, Department of Commerce. I welcome our esteemed resource person, Mrs. Sneha V, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce in Mount Carmel College. We are truly honored to have you join this event, ma'am. Your expertise and insights are highly valued, and we are excited to learn from your experience. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja.
We are fortunate to have the presence of our esteemed principal, Dr. Geeta ma'am, whose guidance and leadership has been instrumental in shaping the academic landscape of our institution. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja.
I would also like to welcome the HODs of all the departments. I also welcome the convener of Research Club, Miss Bharati ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja.
I also welcome the esteemed faculty members and dear students. It is an absolute pleasure to have such a diverse and esteemed gathering here in an online platform. Now, I would request our Honorable Principal Dr. Geeta ma'am to deliver the opening remarks.
Thank you, Pooja. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody had lunch.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon. So it's heartening to welcome you all to this enlightening webinar on the impact of research in higher education and its career paths, organized by Research Club of our BCom department. I congratulate convener Miss Bharti, who has convened this event. And today we are honored to have with us Mrs. Neha, an assistant professor from Mount Carmel College. Ms. Neha, we welcome you all to this webinar. In the ever evolving landscape of higher education, research, as we all know, plays a vital role in not just advancing knowledge, but also in shaping the future of students and society at large. And the insights gained from rigorous research efforts lead to innovations that drive economic growth and improve public policies, and they also enrich cultural understanding. As educators and students, engaging in deeply with research allows us to remain at the forefront of fields, fostering a culture of curiosity and critical thinking. Today's webinar aims to shed light on how research activities within higher education institutions impact various career paths. Whether you're all aspiring to enter into academia or become budding entrepreneurs looking forward to innovate, or professionally aiming to solve some real world problems, I'm sure research will equip you all with the necessary tools and methodologies to succeed. Mrs. Neha, with her extensive experience and expertise, will guide you all through the multifaceted benefits of research, and she will explore how engaging in research can enhance your analytical skills, open doors to diverse career opportunities, and contribute to personal and professional growth. So, without much of talking, I would encourage you all to actively participate in today's session and make the best out of it. It's a wonderful opportunity for you all to learn from a seasoned researcher like Ms. Neha, gain deeper insights, and make the most out of this webinar. Okay, thank you, and over to Sneha.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, I would request Ms. Sanjana from final year BCom to introduce to today's resource person, Mrs. Sneha V.
Thank you, Pooja. Good afternoon to all. Today we have the privilege of being in the presence of true visionary Ms. Neha Venkatesh. Ms. Neha Venkatesh ma'am works as an assistant professor in the School of Commerce at Mount Carmel College, Autonomous, Bengaluru, and is the also research scholar pursuing her PhD in marketing at the Department of Commerce, Christ University, Bengaluru. She has cleared her NET exam, completed her Master of Commerce in Bangalore University, and has been awarded as the university fourth rank holder for the PG studies MCOM in the year 2014. She is currently being appointed as the president of Commerce Association, Mount Carmel College. She has a very significant background of research since 8 years. She has multiple UGC Care approved journal publications, double blinded peer reviewed publications, and chapter publications to her credit. She has also presented research papers in various national and international conferences on content marketing research, creative economy, bank assurance, and creative entrepreneurial research, and has been awarded for the best paper presentation twice at international conferences. Adding to this, she has actively been a part of various national level workshops and seminars for research advancements. She is an aspiring faculty to publish quality research work in her area of interest in reputed journals. She was part of many workshops and programs like questionnaire designing organized by Comcat Academy in July 2022. Attended an international webinar on how to write an impactful paper organized by Mahatma Gandhi College, Kerala in June 2020, and many more. Participated in one-day national conference on strategic policy for strengthening, shaping, and empowering the diverse workforce on March 3rd, 2017. Participated in entrepreneurship development program organized by RBANM's FGC on 25th September 2012. Sneha ma'am accomplishments are boundless, but to name a few, have won the state level Best Actress Award for Media, Week Drama Kannada version, have won the state level first place of street play Rajakiya, have won second place in state level theatre festival for the drama Bimbi, have secured many inter-college awards for street play, miming, folk dance, and drama. A warm welcome to Ms. Neha Venkatesh ma'am on behalf of SSMRV College and request you to take over the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjana. It's natural to feel a mix of excitement and uncertainty about what lies ahead, for which we request ma'am to provide a valuable insight and guidance on the various career paths available. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Mrs. Sneha ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pooja, and thank you so much, Sanjana, for that vast introduction of mine. It was really good to hear all of that. I don't have the option to present my screen. It's not allowed. So can I get the permission?
Sure, ma'am. 1 minute. Let me make you the meeting host. 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Any of you from the team can do it. 1 minute. Let me check.
Yes, I guess I have.
It's done, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yes.
Is the
visible.
PPT visible?
Yes,
Yes.
it's visible.
Yes. So thank you very much for the invite for the webinar today. I would like to thank everyone who's taken this time out to organize this webinar and have me on board for it. I really feel very, very honored to get an opportunity as such and to give away whatever knowledge I have with me on research in higher education. So without much ado, I hope all of you are here. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, and all the students here, if in case you have any issues, any doubts in between, you want to talk to me in between, please do unmute yourself and talk to me. And if there's anything that you want to get it clarified, definitely you can unmute and talk to me in between, or the Q&A session is definitely going to be there at the end. So can we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so Exploring Horizons, the Impact of Research in Higher Education and Career Path is the title or the topic that's given to me for the webinar today. But before that, I just wanted to know if students here are already into research. Are they doing research, or is it something new to them?
They have some few paper presentations too. I guess students can answer. Dear students, you can unmute and answer.
I guess they don't have that option of unmuting.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, anyhow, so assuming that as you all are the final year students, that's what I have got to know, that you all are final year students here who are there in the webinar. So for you, research is probably a very, very new topic is what I believe. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. Because when we were in UG, we never got an idea that, research can be a career for us, that we could take up research in the future. We never knew about it at all. I mean, maybe I don't know about the others, but in my case, I definitely never knew that research can be a career path for me as well in the future. Uh, when we got to know about research is when we were in the final PG, when we were forced to do our dissertation for the PG. That is when we realized that, okay, there is something called as research, which can actually be taken as a career rather than just taking up the 9 to 6 job. You wake up, you go to job, you take all the pressure in the world over there, and you are ending up with a lot of depression and all of that that possibly could affect your health and your life. So this is when in PG final year is when we realize that research can be one of the very nice career opportunities that an individual can get, which is not only giving them horizon, giving them more and more of opportunities to explore new things, but also get that sense of satisfaction that yes, I am doing something great in the economy, I am giving something back to the society, I am just not someone waste being brought to earth. You don't get that feeling. You get a very nice feeling when you do research. So for you all at this level, you are getting an opportunity from the research club to have an idea about what research is all about. So you should really be very, very happy and thankful to your research club that they've given you this opportunity to understand what research is. Maybe you never know. We have wonderful researchers over here in the webinar. We never know. So just giving you a small gist of what research is all about, how can you take it forward in your career, what opportunities can you get with research, and why is it really important for you at this point of time, especially when you are in UG, why is it really important for you is what we are going to look at in this PPT. So there are a few topics or questions that I'm going to cover in this webinar today. Like, what is research all about in higher education institutions? Now, why are we talking about research at a UG college? Isn't research going to be there somewhere when you're going to do doctoral courses? Not now. Why are you talking about research now? Why is it important in higher education institutions is one thing that we're going to learn over here. Why is it important for you as students? You have so many researchers, you have academicians, you have all the CEOs and executives who are basically into research. But why students? Why are they supposed to do research at this point of time? Why is it important for them is one more question that we're going to answer here. What impact is it going to create to the society? Why research is important? What is it that you're going to give back to the society when you're doing research is one more question that we'll uncover. Why research can be an important option to choose for your career. Now you all are in final year. Definitely you would have registered for placements and you would be taking up your jobs once you get it in corporates, obviously. Maybe 70 to 80% of you are wanting to, or maybe approximately 60 to 70% of you are wanting to work with corporates. Maybe a few of you, maybe 15% of you would want to do CA, all professional courses, and maybe 5 to 10% of you, maybe you have a family business or something that you could possibly carry over. So you have different opportunities now. But why research at this point of time? Why can't you take research as a career opportunity? What is it that it is going to fetch you in return if you're going to take research as your career? That's, I'm sorry. That is one question. And what are the career opportunities that a researcher could get? Just give me a minute, I'll have some water. And what are the career opportunities that a researcher could possibly get if he is taking up research as a full-time opportunity in his career? So these are the basic questions that we are going to answer today. Please do let me know if I'm not audible or if there is some glitch in the audio.
No, ma'am, it's clear. It's very clear.
Okay. So now talking about these questions, we look into each of the questions individually and try and understand why, what, when, where. So those are the few questions that I'm going to answer now. What is research all about? Why do we need to do research? When are we going to do this research? And where are we basically going to do this research? So a few W questions is what we are going to answer over here, because when you don't question what, why, when, where, you never know what you're going to do in your future. So for you, as a researcher, first thing is start questioning. The moment you start questioning, that is when you realize that there are so many informations that you're literally not even aware of that is existing in the uh, knowledge base. So talking about what is research, the first question, what is research? We have research being defined by one of the definitions that I have taken over here. Western Sydney University Department of Education has defined research as the creation of new knowledge and or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way so as to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understandings. This could include synthesis and analysis of previous research to the extent that it leads to new and creative outcomes. My God, there's so much of wordings over here, which can you as a UG student get confused with. And the moment you look at the first slide, you'll doze off. So for the ones who are dozing off, please come back. Basically, I don't want to read out the definition once again and tell you what it is all about. So research is, the word itself tells you are researching something. So you're not trying to bring in something absolutely new in the world, which is not even there. You're not trying to do something like that. Research is where there is already pre-existing information about a specific topic or a concept or a theory or something. You're trying to relook into that. You're trying to modify that for the current scenario, and you're trying to bring in some innovations with that. So research is basically not doing something outstanding, which is not ever existing in the world. Research is basically where what you are trying to look into what is already existing and what possible developments could you further add into the existing concepts, theories, or any models. So we are not asking you to do something wonderful here. Research starts with a very small level. So where you're just trying to see what it is that has been already be researched till now and what possibly could you add on to that knowledge base which is already pre-existing over here. So I guess that can be a very simple work for you as a student to do rather than creating something which is absolutely not even existing in the world. So creating something which is very, very simple, new, logical, and can be applicable somewhere is what is research all about. And if you feel that, my God, how can I do as a UG student? I'm really not even capable enough to do all of this. Please don't believe in all of that. Trust me, even I was in that stage only where I thought that research, my God, definitely not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, not my cup of coffee because I don't like tea. So I felt that, but now I really feel I get the joy when I do every research publication. So definitely you will also go through all of those phases. But starting with all the basic queries regarding research. So first thing is what research is all about. So is it okay if I go to the next slide? Have you understood this basic what research is? Anyone who could unmute yourself? Or if you don't have that option, then I'll move on. Okay, I have. So yes, research is where you're searching for knowledge or the truth. It is a systematic investigation into material and sources to establish facts and reach new conclusions. I'll tell you what systematic investigation here means when we're talking about the features of research. So looking at the next slide, now if you look at these are a few qualities of research. So research basically starts with critical thinking. Now, what do you do as a UG student? You get a textbook, you have a few subjects in hand, you are instructed that you are supposed to score so and so marks so that you pass out and you are successfully going to be awarded a degree over here, and you put in all the hard work and effort to make sure that you clear off your paper, and boom, you forget everything that is there in your brain, and ultimately you are nowhere there. After 2 weeks of your exam, I come and approach you and ask you something about a specific topic. You'll be wondering which subject did that even come from. So that doesn't apply over here. Research is where you are actually not only just by hearting something, you're just not vomiting anything and everything that you would put it in your paper answer script. Research is where you are critically asked to think rigorously so that you can bring out something new. You could bring out new ideas, you could bring out new thoughts. So that is what is important or required in research, because if you don't critically think, you don't logically think, you don't bring out reasoning over here, I don't think you are doing research. I just guess you are just doing some reading work which doesn't even stay in your brain for a longer period of time. So research is basically, one, you do a lot of critical thinking over here, you do a lot of logical reasoning, and you bring out innovative thought processes over here, which can actually create changes in the society. It is an unbiased search. So what do you mean by unbiased search here means you're basically not looking into one area of topic. You are looking at multiple topics and multiple point of views. You're looking at different perspectives so that you get a clear picture of a specific topic or a concept that you're looking at. So it is unbiased, as in it is not as per your needs and requirements. You are independent and your research is independent. So basically you cannot bias it with your thought processes. So research is said to be an unbiased search, and it is evidence-based. Evidence-based as in any research you do, you're basically trying to bring in evidence, telling that, see, this is what it is, this is how it is, and this is how we need to further develop it. So you are trying to bring in an evidence telling that this is the current situation or current scenario of research, and this is what is possibly required for us to add in so that we could further innovate it at a higher grade. So that means you are trying to bring in more and more of evidences for research. Then you're trying to replicate it. Now, why is replication important in research is, let me tell you, as I told you at the beginning only, you're not doing research where you're bringing something absolutely new into the world. You are trying to develop something which is already existing in the knowledge base, in the database. So you are trying to replicate what someone has already developed, but you're trying to build it a little more better for the current situation or for the present economic situations. So you are wanting to replicate what something did, but add in something new from your perspective. So that is why research is said to be ease for replication, because if you can't replicate something which someone has already established, I don't think you can further do any research. So that is one more feature of research. It's a systematic inquiry. If you remember the previous slide also, we had a terminology which said research is a systematic investigation. So basically what are you doing over here? You are systematically looking into all the available data relating to a specific topic or a domain that you are wanting to look into. So systematically, as in you just don't randomly pick up some articles or some newspapers or anything that's available, but you make sure that you look into all sort of data that is available in the database. Like maybe you can have data with journals, you can have data with book chapters, you can have data with newspapers, you can have data with recordings or anything. So basically you're systematically looking into all the information that is available or pre-existing, trying to build a specific stage for yourself where you get to know, okay, this is where the research has been conducted till date for the specific topic, and this is where I'm supposed to further going to build up. So this is where I'm supposed to further build up. So you are trying to do a systematic inquiry over here. And yes, research is definitely generalizable in nature, not for every topic, but definitely for social sciences, I guess to some extent, we can generalize it, at least within a specific economy or a geographical boundary. We can generalize it as in if you're doing a research. For example, we do a research over here. What is the motivational character? What are the motivations that a student has here in UG to do research? So if I do a research on that topic, maybe I could generalize the results of that study to maybe Tamil Nadu, maybe to Kerala, maybe to Maharashtra. I could generalize it, saying that maybe in those states also these may be the reasons for their motivation in research. So it is generalizable in nature and it is cyclical in nature. Cyclical process as in you start with a question, you have a doubt over here. See, research only starts when you have a doubt, you have a question and you want an answer to that question. So you have a doubt, you have a question, you look into various databases to pull out information. You get so much information, you do some research. Basically, maybe you collect data, being it secondary, primary, you do some analysis, you get some results and you found a solution. The moment you find a solution, you again arise with a question as to why is the solution like this? Why not like that? So if it is not like that, then what is the reason? So again, you start up with a new question. You start with a new question. Again, you have a question, research question. You have some motivation, research motivation here. And again, you do the same A to Z. again and again. So that is why we call research being a cyclical process. Is there any doubt with what research is all about? Okay, I guess the unmuting option is not available. Should I move on? Right, I don't think nobody is.
Yes, ma'am, you can go ahead. They're using chat box to reply, ma'am, actually.
Okay, I can't see that. I can
Fine.
only see the PPT over here. So maybe whatever questions or any queries they put up in the chat box, maybe I'll respond for the same at the end of the session.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay. So now looking at why is research important? If you remember, these were the questions that we previously wanted to discuss. What is research? We just discussed it. Why do we need to, do research, and why is it actually important? Is what we are going to look at it now. So why is research important? You should be knowing you as an individual are doing research to innovate or bring something new into the society. So I'm just talking at simple words. I'm not using some critical words or terminologies over here, which becomes difficult for you to understand because all of you are from UG. I'll try and use the most simplest words that I could possibly use so that you can grasp whatever is being discussed over here. So research, why is it important for you as students to do it in higher education institutions is basically you as a researcher do something new, you bring something new to the society, you are contributing something to the society. Definitely people are going to take up whatever you contribute. Maybe your contributions, it doesn't mean that you only have to be a researcher. You could be a budding entrepreneur as well. An entrepreneur himself does research. You could be a freelancer. You can be your own researcher. You could give research solutions for some businesses. You could be a business analyst. So all of these, what could you possibly be? We'll discuss it by the end of the session as to what are the various career opportunities that you could get as a researcher. So why is research important over here is when you give something to the society, definitely society is going to advance. Now, you all know we came out from multiple ages, and one of the oldest age that we had was the Stone Age. So Stone Age is basically where we never had all of these technologies that we had. We never had a house. We never had anything over there. So humans still existed. But what if people didn't do any research at that point of time? Do you think we would have these technologies today? Do you think we would have sat here, had this webinar over here where you are sitting at your places, I am sitting at my place, and we are having this one-on-one discussion as such? Nothing as such would have been taken place. So it is individuals who are doing research every day, contributing slightly. It's okay, even if you contribute 0.5% to the economy is also absolutely fine, because that creates a difference to the economy. So one importance of why research at higher education institutions is important is it helps in advancing the society. So society improves over here. So you all know how India was maybe 100 years, 200 years or 500 years ago, and how are we today? From barter system, we've come to this stage. So I guess there is some research that has contributed to all of these advancements that's happening in the society. So yes, one society is definitely going to advance, and with society, there is economic growth also that's happening. Let me tell you, economic growth happens only when the society is growing. So as and when the society grows, as and when income increases, as and when returns increases, as and when flow of money increases, what happens? There is definitely economic growth happening. And with all of this, there are obvious job creations that is happening. So as a researcher, just don't think that you're doing some research, you're just bringing out something, you're just putting it in some article and throwing it to the society. Definitely not. You are doing all of these in return. You are advancing the society, you are helping with the economic growth, you're helping with the knowledge base improvement, you're helping with new budding researchers, you're giving them more and more of opportunities and pathways as to how could they further take upon research. You're creating jobs over here, employment opportunities is created. With that, obviously, standard of living increases, purchasing power increases, definitely flow of money increases, and the economy also advances. And yes, along with all of this, what is it that you're trying to do with research? You are doing more and more of innovations, which is definitely improving or advancing the technological aspects in an economy. And I hope you know today technology is one of the very, very critical aspect that is required in any field, being it science, being it agriculture, being it healthcare, anything in that case. So technology is one of the major innovations that is happening, and you as a researcher, you can contribute to strengthening the technology as well. So for you, as a researcher, if you have to do all of this, it is important for you to take up research in your higher education institution. Yes, as I already told you, we had it at the PG level, but now that you have an opportunity of doing research at your UG level, for the ones who haven't started off with it, I guess it's the right time for you to understand why or what you could possibly do with this. So you can just do a trial and error method over here. Take up research, given your heart and soul, take it up for 1 year, try doing it, try and introspect yourself whether you could possibly do all of this. Once you get that taste, I guess you're never going to leave research. So it's just that until you get that taste or the flavor of research, until you get that is where you're going to struggle. So once you get that, I can bet you you're never going to turn back and tell that, you know, I hate research. You're never going to do that. So looking at a few statistics over here. Now, why did we come to statistics over here is, see, we were talking about why is research important. So when I talk about why research is important, we also need to look into a few data over here, statistical data over here, for us to understand why we are asking you to do research, why you can take it up as a career, so that you are doing something better to the society, to the economy. So remember, ultimately, why are we doing all of this? We are utilizing, basically, we're not utilizing, we are exploiting all the resources that's there in the economy. We are using anything and everything that's possibly available to our reach, which is untouched, everything we are exploiting it. So as individuals, we are supposed to give back something good to the society. So one wonderful way of giving back something to the society is doing research and giving some insights and innovations to the society. So now looking at why is research important, a few statistics is required over here. So this is a little statistics that I've pulled out from iShare report of 2021. This is All India report for the higher education institutions, wherein the report tells us that there are 1,113 universities in India. My God, look at the number of universities that we have, the size of India, the number of universities we have, and look at the standalone institutions. Now, what do we mean by standalone institutions? It could be polytechnics, or it could be teacher training institutes, or nursing institutes, or anything as such. So these standalone institutes, we have 11,269, and we have affiliated colleges around 43,796 colleges. Now, let me tell you, these are as per 2021 and not as per 2024. So definitely these count is going to increase for 2024. Now, although we have so many universities, so many standalone institutions, so many colleges, we have the best institutions is what we tell. We have IIMs, IITs, so many institutions, best of best institutions we have. But still, if you look at the statistics, we don't even fall within the 200 best universities in the world also. Now, that is so bad that we don't even fall within the top 200 universities in the world. Let me tell you, Indian higher education institutions, that is the Indian education sector, overall education sector is the second largest education sector in the world. We fall after China, we have the second largest education sector. Now, with having the second largest education sector, with having so many universities, so many standalone institutions, and so many colleges, I mean, we still don't fall under the top 200 best universities in the world. You look at any research, what are the top best universities? You find it only in UK, you find it in US, you find it in Singapore, you find it in Australia, but you don't find it in India. Now, why is it like that? A few of this is something which we need to question. See, with this question is where we start with research. So please have this question in mind. Why is it that even after having so many universities, and you already know we have such good youth population in India, even after having so much, why is basically India not at the top level? So looking at a few reasons over here, I have listed out a few reasons, very few reasons I've listed out. These are not the final ones. There are many more reasons as to why we don't fall under the top 200. But a few of it is faculty student ratio. We don't have enough or sufficient faculties for the count of students that we have in educational institutions. Infrastructure and quality can be one reason. We don't have that great infrastructure, and we don't have that quality of education as well. Quality in terms of curriculum, that's one more reason which I've listed it out over here. Quality in terms of curriculum, quality in terms of infrastructure, in terms of availability of all the other facilities, and we don't have a proper regulatory framework based on which research can be conducted. Yes, we have UGC giving us norms on how do we go about with research, but still not many researchers or academic people are aware of what are the various norms that's given to us. And one very, very important reason over here is research and citations. So we have very, very poor research in India. And citations, for the ones who don't know what citation is all about, citation means when you are doing a research, you are adopting something which someone else said. Like, for example, Mr. A said that motivation in higher education institution students depends upon their food consumption. Maybe we'll just assume. So if someone, Mr. A, has told that, and if I want to include that in my study, I would cite his paper or his article or his work telling that Mr. A in his research work said that, motivation of higher education institution students depend upon the food consumption and the quality of the food that they consume. So that is called as citing other research articles. So that way, research and citations in our country is very, very poor. Now, why is it very, very poor is basically because not much of them are aware of the logical way of doing research. They don't know the proper systematic way of doing research. They're not aware of the various funding opportunities that's available. They're not aware of what are the possible benefits that they could get with all the research that they are going to do. So, because research and citation is one of the critical criteria because of which we don't fall under the top 200 universities, it is the right time for us at the higher educational institutions to take up research mandatorily and make sure that we present it to the undergraduate students only, so that they understand. With simple level of research only you start. We are not asking you to create something bring out a product which is not existing in the world. No, we don't ask you to do that. We just ask you to start with a small level. Maybe you could do a small simple paper, a literature review paper, a conceptual paper, something like that, which can actually create that want in you, that desire in you to do more and more in research. And once that want and desire is increasing, automatically you will jump into doing much better and creating something new in the society. So now, looking at the various questions that we have: what is research? Why is it important? What impact can it basically create to the society? Now, from the minute I've started with the webinar, I've been continuously telling you that, you have to give back something to the society. It should create an impact to the society. I mean, what impact are we trying to create to the society? You as an individual, what impact can you do to the society? There are crores and crores of people in India. We'll just talk in the Indian perspective. There are crores and crores of people in India, and imagine one individual like you, what difference can you make to the society? Very difficult. Nobody even bothers. Nobody even cares. Nobody even knows who you are. This is what we think, but that's not the situation. Let me tell you, a small research, a small work from your end is definitely going to create more and more of opportunities for the budding researchers. It gives them opportunities to build upon with what you have done till date. So you as a small individual, you are important, you are relevant, and your research is definitely going to make an impact in the society. So what impact can it possibly create? Definitely all of these impacts it might not create, but definitely a few of these can be touched upon with your research. So one, it can create academic input, like as in it can advance understanding of various methods, technologies, theories that is pre-existing, or any application of these theories. Academic wise, improvement or impact can be there in the society. Cultural impact can be there, like research contributes to the understanding of ideas, realities, values and beliefs of individuals. It is it changes the prevailing values, attitudes, beliefs. Either values, attitudes, beliefs can either be explicit or implicit in different organizations, between social groups or society, and it can deliver benefits to the members of these groups of the society, or the organization with whomever you impact. So culturally there can be an impact. You are changing the values, the beliefs, and the attitudes of individuals. There can also be economic impact. Now, talking about economic impact, anything that your research can monetarily impact the society, we call it as economic impact. Like monetary wise, you're going to change the scenario of the country. It means that your research is going to bring in economic impact, such as you are building a process which can save money, a production process which can save money, or you're building a methodology which can cut costs for you, which can help you in cutting costs, or maybe you're bringing in some training method to employees which can increase turnover, or it can increase your profits, or it can increase your funding, or it can increase your grants, or anything as such. So monetary wise, any improvement, any positive improvement that's happening can be economic impact. Well-being impact over here, well-being is nothing but health impact. We call it as well-being impact. So research can also impact your health for the betterment of your health. So what betterment of your health? Your public health can be good. Your social, your social interaction, your social groups health can be good. Both physical and social aspects, your emotional health, your psychological health, your emotional well-being, and your satisfaction in your life, all of these well-beingness can be impacted with your research. So you could increase your own well-being, as well as you can also contribute to the society's well-being. That's health making an impact. Then we have political or policy impact. Political impact can eitherwise be called as policy impacts. Now basically political impact are the ones who create policies for us, or policy impact is the one who basically create policies for us. Policy makers, whom we call the government, basically policy makers. How do they take your research? See, research, you just don't do it and just don't throw it in the knowledge base or database that we have in the society. You are doing a research, finding out a solution, giving it to the policy makers, telling them that, see, this is what I've found out. Please do consider this. And if you find it feasible, please do implement that in the economy. So you as a researcher, you're just not doing something ABC. Someone is asking you to do research, you do ABC and you finish it off over there and you go back home and relax. No, research is where you're trying to bring in some new concepts, give it to the policy makers, tell them that this is the case, see, this is what I've done. If you really find it interesting, and if you find it as the apt solution for the problem that's persisting in the economy, please do take this, adopt it, and do a trial and error and see if it can work for our economy. So there is a policy impact over here as well. Looking at the next one, it's environmental impact. I've already told you, research is definitely going to help you give something back to the environment that you're trying to exploit over here. We are definitely exploiting our environment, but we are supposed to give back something in turn. So environmental impacts such as, you can help in increase your natural resources, protect your natural resources. You can help curb your environmental pollution. You can make sure you bring in policies, procedures, or guidelines or framework as to how your climate can be protected and how better you could increase your environmental sustainability. So that's your environmental impact. Then we have social impact. Social impact is basically where beneficiaries such as individuals, or groups, individuals forming a group or communities or organization is. So research can help more in communication better, improvise communication amongst the society. Social is nothing but the society. So research is definitely going to increase the social skills, communication skills in public, that is the groups. And the last one is capacity building or training impact. Definitely your research is going to build some capacity, such as development or improvement of training. You could improve or develop the training facilities, the curriculum in higher educational institutions, pedagogical tools that we have, and qualifications that can create all of these benefits. So these are the various impacts that research can actually have on the society. So now you should be knowing why that each one of you, beginning from your research club convener, till me, till your principal, everybody here are stressing more upon research, doing research, do it. It's really going to help you out. Now, why is it that everyone's doing that? Is because you as an individual can create any of these impacts on the society, and this is definitely going to help for the betterment of the country. Now, why is it important for you as students? Till now, we got to know why is it important, what is it going to do to society, but why is it important for you? Now, why are we forcing you to do research? I mean, definitely not a force, but you need a push. Every time you need a push for you to understand that there's something valuable awaiting ahead for you, which you might feel a little difficult to take a step forward. So we are just giving you a push over here. So you as students, why is it important for you to do research? Is basically it helps you in acquiring knowledge and understand the world around you. The problem here is you're just reading, you're just by-hearting, you're just putting everything in the answer script, and the next moment I ask you something, you're literally out of the world. You don't even know what you have studied or what is it that I'm talking about. But research is not something like that. You have to dive deep into a specific topic, which can actually make you a expert in that specific area. So for you to become an expert in a specific area, you will be acquiring a lot of knowledge about that because you keep researching more and more about that topic. You talk to more expert people. You talk to various experts available in your field. So that helps you understand your phenomenon, and it also helps you understand the world around you. So that is one important reason as to why you should be doing research. It allows you to explore new ideas and creation of something new. Now, let me tell you, you just can't be happy or satisfied with just eating, sleeping, relaxing, enjoying. Oh, you have your weekend, you enjoy, and you're again starting with your 9 to 6 job. I feel after a specific point of time that becomes monotonous. What doesn't become monotonous, what doesn't create boredom in you is research. Because every day you keep looking into something new. Every day you have that zeal in you, you keep building that zeal in you to bring in something new. So maybe 200 years ago, 300 years ago, we never had a helmet to drive our two-wheelers. But today we have a helmet to drive our two-wheelers. Maybe after 15 years, 20 years, we will have a helmet attached with a raincoat, attached with a wiper, or maybe something like that. Now, who does all of these innovations is us, individuals. We are the researchers who are going to put in a little bit of effort from our end on a specific topic, concept, or something, which can help us in exploring new ideas. Better the ideas, better the innovations, and better the innovations, better life, standard of life we could be leading. So that's one important reason. It contributes to human growth and civilization. Now, you all know we have been evolving throughout the civilization process, and we're definitely not going to stay stagnant furthermore. We are again further going to evolve, and we now know already artificial intelligence has taken up the leap forward and is already overtaking or overriding the human abilities. So for us to grow more, to grow better, to grow sustainable is very, very important. So one more reason as to why research can be done is to grow sustainable. It improves quality of life. Definitely, I've already told you, it improves the quality of your standard of living. It improves your quality of lives. It improves the satisfaction, everything. And you are giving scientific solutions to the society. So something which is systematically done, scientifically proven, wherein it cannot be wrong to the society. So you're not just giving something randomly without even any check. You are doing everything systematically and giving it to the society, and you know that the outcome is definitely going to be positive in nature. So moving forward, we have career paths with research. Now that you've got to know so much about research, maybe definitely a few of you here with us in the meeting would have got that want in you to know, okay, let me see what possible better I could do with research. What can I learn with research? How do I start with research? Now, if I take up research, okay, we'll assume that you don't take up a job 9 to 6. Maybe you are wanting to take up research as your career now. Now, what possible opportunities can you get in the future? You should be knowing that before you choose whether you want to do MCOM, MBA, you want to do any professional course, or you want to just take up a job and settle down, or what you want to do. Before that, you need to know what are the career opportunities that you have. So looking into the career opportunities that research could fetch for you, definitely you have a lot of opportunities here. So research can help you becoming a researcher and a professor in academics. So basically, like your teachers, your professors whom you have with you are the researchers, and they are the ones who are in academics, who are basically into teaching as well as researching. So we are the ones who form the front line of the academics research. So that is one possible option for you. Now, if you want to become a researcher or professor, when do you start with your research? Right away. You start right away. Then you do your MCOM or your MBA. You do your dissertation there. Gives you a better clarity on what research is all about. And once you start doing your doctoral courses or anything as such, you definitely MPhil or anything. I mean, a little cancel now MPhil. So yes, it's okay. You will get to know the deepest ways of doing research and the wide variety of methods that you could possibly follow over here. So one career path that you could choose is being a researcher and into academics. Next is being a financial service analyst. So basically you're doing a lot of research with financial services such as banking research. You could do insurance research. You could do non-banking financial services research. So anything as such, you could do researches as such, and you could work with banks, you could work with insurance companies, you could work with them, and you could be a top level research executive in their specific business. So research doesn't mean you're only into academics. The ones who are in academics are into teaching and doing research. But apart from that, there are so many of them outside in corporates only, in companies only, doing job there, 9 to 6 job, but with research. So these are a few career paths that you could possibly get. You could become a business analyst. So you're looking into SWOT, what business is doing, which business, why is that business failing, what are the reasons for failure, why is the business succeeding, what possible innovations could you further bring. So you're doing research with business, and you're finding solutions for critical problems in your business. So you become a business analyst. Again, you could possibly work with a corporate company as a business analyst. You can become an advertising manager. So the more research you do with relating to marketing, the more you can become expert in your area, and the more you can help with becoming an advertising manager for a specific brand or a company. You can become an economist. See, there are a few of them who are really wanting to develop the economy. They have a very much liking or attachment or an affiliation towards the economy. So they're very good at economic concepts. So for such people, research can actually help them in becoming great economists, and they can also contribute to major regulatory framework preparation, policy making. They can be a part of those benches as well. So you could become a possible economist. You can be a part of intelligence, private intelligence, government intelligence. You can be a part of intelligence. You can be a part of their research team as to what is happening, when can, is there a threat to a specific business? Is there a threat to the society? Is there a threat to the economy in terms of financial threat, in terms of geographical threat, or in terms of any attacks from any sort? So you can be a part of intelligence. Now, let me tell you, intelligence starts only with research. They do a lot of research. And data analyst. You could also be a data analyst. You could be a freelancer data analyst. You could be a data analyst at a corporate company. Now, what data analysis is all about is they give you data, You are supposed to find solutions. You're supposed to find out what possible outcomes can you derive for the near future from that data that is available. So you could become a senior data analyst. You could become a normal data analyst. You start with that grade, and you can become a research associate. You can become a research manager at research institutions. We have private research institutions. We have government run research institutions like ICSSR. We have UGC. We have many more institutions. I'll talk about it in the next slide. So you could become a research associate there. You could become a research manager there. So basically, you are helping those institutions with look into what possible research they need for their area of requirement. And then the last one is, you don't want to work with anyone, you don't want to work under anyone, you don't want to report to anyone, you can run your own consulting firm. You can have your own research institute. Basically, you can have your own research business where you do research and you consult. You give consultation to someone who is in need of that. Maybe an entrepreneur might be in need of some consultation. Maybe some business would be in need of consultation. Maybe a journalist wants some consultation. So you can run your own consulting firm. So these are the various career opportunities that a researcher can get. Definitely not limited to this. You can still do more and more of research with your PG, with your doctoral, postdoctoral research. And with all of that, you can still jump into major institutions which are only involved into research activities. So to do all of this, definitely you need a lot of money. Nobody is going to do it free of cost. I mean, you as a researcher, you'll have to spend a lot of time. Along with time, you're going to spend a lot of money. Now, tell me, where are you going to get that money from? That is very, very important, because without money, data collection, preparation, analysis becomes very, very difficult. So you definitely need, at any specific point of time, you would require money for all of this. So for you, if you want to choose research as your career path, maybe you want to become an economist, or you want to become a researcher and a professor in academics, or maybe you want to become a business analyst. Now, where do you get money to do all of these research? Where do you get money? Because you cannot pull it out from your pockets every time. So where do you get that money from is, you have agencies for the same. You have funding options over here. But this doesn't come at the UG level. Let me tell you, you'll have to be a qualified doctor. Doctorate course you should have. You should have a good research background. So a few requirements follows up with the funding. But yes, this is one information that you could possibly make a note of for your future. If you're going to take up any funding activities in the future, definitely this is going to help. So we have national level funding agencies and we have international level funding agencies. Now, these agencies are the ones who are basically involved into critical research activities, and they are the ones who create a difference to the society. So for that, they hire researchers, they give research projects, they give funding opportunities, they give projects, minor, major projects, everything which can give you money, and they give you all the feasible facilities for conducting your research. So you could get affiliated with any of these agencies like Indian Council of Medical Research, or University Grants Commission, or Indian Space Research Organization, Defense Research and Development Organization, Indian Council of Social Science Research, Department of Science and Technology. There's so many. So at the international level, if you look, we have Global Education Fund, we have Commonwealth Fund, British Council, European Union Program, Ford Foundation, Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council. So many funding agencies we have. What is the requirement for all of this? You taking a step forward, making sure that you are taking it important at your priority basis. You are considering research for your career, doing a trial and error, understanding what research is all about. Once you get the essence of research, start taking up minor projects, take your PG program, take your doctoral for the same, if you have to, or if you want to continue with research, and a few more career opportunities, like, except academia. For the others, I don't think you need PG as well. You just, sorry, I don't think you need a doctoral or postdoctoral fellowship. You don't need any of that. MBA, MCOM, all of these are absolutely fine for you to further take up research as a career. So you could take up minor projects at a later time. You could take up minor projects or major projects or research opportunities that these funding agencies are giving you. And along with funds, you can also get a lot of other facilities, secondary facilities from them to conduct your research. Definitely, this is going to increase your horizon of understanding the phenomenons that existing in the world. So that way, I think I have answered a few questions over here. So looking at the various questions that we had initially that we wanted to answer. So these were the questions that we wanted to answer. Now, if you feel that any of these questions hasn't been answered, or you want more clarity on any of the career paths or anything else, just let me know. I am ready for question and answer now. I guess I am not too early to stop. Is it the right time to stop, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
It's 3 o'clock, so I guess we can have a question and answer session now.
Yes, ma'am.
So anyone who has any questions, anything related to what we've discussed now? So have I given clarity to, or have I made justice to the topic?
Pooja,
Yes, ma'am.
I guess you can call out Raghava for Q&A session, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. A heartfelt, a heartfelt thank you for sharing your experience and insights with us, ma'am. Now, I would request Mr. Raghava J from Final Year BCom to take over the session and start Q&A session.
Thank you, Pooja. Good afternoon, everyone. If any of you have any queries, kindly post it in the chat box.
I guess I'll have to get an option. Anyone who's doing research here already, you are already having a clarity on how to go about doing research here? Anyone? Yes, there's one question, Manjunath.
There is one question, ma'am.
Yes, how
From
can one
Manjunath,
find the
sir.
proper research gap? See, basically, you want to find a gap as to what research has already been conducted in a specific area and what is it that has not been done. The best way to find a research gap is to do a lot of literature review. So literature review gives you a clarity as to what has been done in a specific area, how other researchers have looked into, what are their perspectives about this topic, where they conducted, what methods have they used. So with all of this information, with a lot of good literature review with different sources, like literature review in terms of articles, in terms of book chapters, in terms of conference proceedings, theses, etc., etc. If you do a wide, extensive literature review, I guess you will easily be able to find a gap for research. So that is where you get to know, okay, all of other researchers have done so much. Why haven't they touched upon this specific area or this specific region? Or why haven't they considered this specific variable included in it? I mean, I guess I should do a research on that. That is where you find a gap, and that is where you find a question and a research motivation to do a specific research. I guess I've answered your question. Is you want more clarity on it, Manjunath? Is it okay? But definitely without proper literature review, I don't think anything can work. Because without literature review, you might end up doing the same work someone else has already done. And at the end of the day, your work doesn't create a difference to the society. So I guess extensive literature review is really important for you to understand how better you can do from what someone else has done already. Any other questions? Nothing? Okay, any doubts as to when do we start with research? How do I know research is my interest? Any doubts as such? How can we improve our interest towards research? See, reading is very, very important. Unless you have reading, interest in reading, I don't think research can help you out better. The more you read, you need not start with reading research articles in the beginning. At the beginning only you need not read research articles, because the moment you pull out research articles and you read a single page, you'll start dozing off. We don't want that to happen. So first you need to build your reading ability. To build your reading ability, this is what I did for myself. You can try it out for yourself, because I felt to build reading ability, we have to first start with some novels. Any novel, it can be fiction, anything, whatever you want to take that, let it create a little interest in you. So once you get that interest in reading, once you feel that, even if you read pages together, you can still survive without dozing off, that is when you will start with research articles. Read newspapers, best way. Newspapers gives you 100 questions. You read one single page, you get 100 questions over there. Why like this? Why like that? Why not like this? Government could have done this. Why didn't they do that? So 100 questions you get there only. The moment you start reading, the moment you build that habit of reading and still surviving without dozing off, I guess you can easily jump into reading journal articles. So once you start with journal articles and you feel you've got a hold of that, easily you can improve your interest towards research. See, I'll tell you, research is self-motivated. Nobody can motivate you for research. You should have a lot of self-motivation if you want to become a good researcher. Because half of the time, people don't understand what a researcher is doing. You come and tell me today what research you're doing, maybe I can understand because I'm from the same background. You go to your mom and tell that, mom, today I'm doing a research on, content marketing and how content marketing can help improve digital techniques. Then your mom's going to give you one left and right, telling you, please go out from here. I'm not going to understand all of this. So half of the time, people don't even understand what you're doing. So talking to the right people at the right time is really important also for you to develop your interest towards research. So as I told you, to develop your or improve your interest towards research, one, good reading. Start with simple reading, simple story reading. Start with reading newspapers, reading any articles, anything as such, and then jump into academic research. Definitely you're going to develop a lot of interest, and self-motivation is very, very important in research. I hope I've answered your question, Yashwant. Raghava, good afternoon. How do we seek career in research? Yes, for that, first you will have to start off with small research work. Simple research, you can definitely, once you have that research taste in you, it automatically takes you to PG. You take research major there. And now with NEP, I don't know whether you have the implementation of the 4th year. We have it with research and without research. I guess you can also possibly take it with research if you have the 4th year upcoming for you. If not, obviously we have PG with us, and you can do a lot of extensive research in your PG. PG equips you with, research facilities. So with that, definitely, without giving a break, if you take up your doctoral course, I guess you can create a wonderful career with research. So that is one good thing. Doctoral course actually puts you into rigorous research. That's where you actually dive deep into the world of knowledge and dig deep into information that's available. So that way you can seek a good career in research, Raghava. Hemanta, how do we ask for funding in our research? Funding at this stage, at the UG stage, is a little difficult, because anyone who's going to fund you will definitely ask a good research background. So with a good profile, with a good track of research, I don't think people will be, funding agencies will be ready to invest money unless you're associated with some associate professor or with a professor from your own institution. If you're associated with them, maybe you could through them seek funding facility. But as a UG student, it is really difficult at this stage. But as I told you, take up research step by step. Maybe at your doctoral level, you can definitely take up funding projects as well. At this stage, at the UG stage, it's quite closely impossible. That is what I could, I wish to tell. May I know what's the right research methodology for beginners, ma'am? See, there's nothing called as right research methodology and wrong research methodology. It all depends on what your research question is all about. So as I told you, start with simple literature review. When you're doing literature review in itself, you will get to know what are the various methods that other researchers have used. There only you will get to know so many things that you never even came across when you did a theoretical understanding of the research. So when you do theoretical understanding of research, you'll not understand all the various options. But when you do literature review, that is when you understand the various methods that different researchers have adopted in their research. So there is nothing called as a right methodology or wrong methodology. All comes with experience, definitely. So for you to understand how best can you portray your research, how best can you make your research outcome, is by doing a lot of existing literature review. Literature review gives you idea about how theoretical frameworks have been built, how conceptual frameworks have been built, how model development has been done, how variables have been chosen, how objectives have been framed, how objectives have been converted into questions, and how these questions are being answered, what sort of tools have been used, why did they use that specific tool, why not some other tool. So all of these questions can be easily answered when you do a lot of extensive literature review. So I'll tell you the solution for all major questions that I have been able to see over here in the chat box. Literature review is the fine solution for that. The more extensive literature review you do, in fact, by the time you do at least 60-70 articles you read through, I can bet you will easily be able to frame one good article. You can do an own article of yourself. Easily you can find objectives, easily you can frame your own gaps. I mean, you can find gaps, you can frame your own objectives. Easily you can prepare an article. I mean, at least a conceptual paper. If not an analytical paper, at least a conceptual paper can easily be done. So that way, I guess literature review is the solution for all your questions. I hope I've answered your question, Tejaswini. Any more questions, please do put it in the chat box. Praveen has asked, how can we begin our research at this stage? Very good. At this stage, first thing you need to find out what is your area of interest. Like, for example, I never knew that I was interested in marketing. I always felt marketing is an area which requires a lot of extensive roaming. I need to always roam. Taking up a marketing job means I'm literally a sales guy over here. I'm a saleswoman. I become a saleswoman, roaming house to house. I felt that. But when I started with my PG, that is when I actually realized marketing is much more, I mean, I'm talking about my area of expertise. So I felt marketing is much more than just going door to door selling a specific product. I realized marketing can be done at your table, at your ease. It can be done at your ease. So that is when I started realizing that I have a lot of want towards understanding the various theories of marketing, the various models of marketing and all of that. So first thing you as a student you have to do is find out your area of interest. A few of them might be interested in accounting. You might be very, very good at a few accounting policies and principles and all of that. So might be you could take up accounting as your area of research. But you don't want to become an accountant. Absolutely fine. You can do research in your area of expertise, area of interest. So finding out your area of interest is very, very important at this stage. Maybe you might find an area, like for example, you might find marketing and maybe accounting, you might find it pleasing now or interesting now, and you take out accounting. The more you dive deep into information about accounting, you realize that, you feel that accounting is not your cup of tea. Absolutely fine. See, we are commerce people over here. We are literally going to be expert in all the areas that is available. If not expert, at least we'll have a lot of clarity about each of the possible areas that we have under commerce. So if not accounting, then you can easily shift to something else that you really feel you're interested in. So this is just a trial and error stage that you are in. At this stage, I cannot expect the best method that you can follow in your career or research career. At this stage, just find out your area of interest, find out what topic you will like, do a little bit of research on that specific topic, find out what is not there in that specific topic, and then keep building on that. With a little bit of literature review you do in your area of interest, you can easily prepare a conceptual paper. So you can begin your research with finding out your area of interest. You should be happy to have that area. The moment you look at that, the moment I look into a marketing, when I pull out a newspaper or any journal or anything as such, the moment I look at the terminology marketing, I feel so happy. I leave whatever I'm reading and I jump into that space. So that want in you should be built. For that, as I told you, simple reading is really, really important in your area of interest only, nowhere else. Satvik, how would a research determine the best, and what is the standard timeline for research? Depends on what sort of research you're doing. Talking about timeline, what sort of research you're doing a minor research, you're doing a major research. Are you doing a funded project somewhere else, or are you doing an journal article, or maybe are you doing a book chapter? Depends. Everything has its own timeline. There is no standard time period which can define that, research should be done within 2 months or 3 months or 1 year or 2 years. No, nothing like that. Research is an ongoing process. It definitely goes on years together. So you cannot tell that, I'll do research for 1 year and I will relax back and I'll be happy forever after. Definitely that's not the situation. Research is something like, you have a kid. You bring in the kid to the world and you're never going to get rid of that kid. That kid is your kid lifetime. So research is something like your kid. The research becomes your kid. So your parents can't get rid of you lifetime. At least in the Indian scenario, your parents can't get rid of you lifetime. Until, although you are 60, you still depend on your parents only. I mean, at least for mental support, emotional support, you definitely depend upon them. So that way research becomes your kid. So there's no timeline as such for research. How would a research determine the best? See, definitely for a researcher, initial stages, you cannot bring out the best research. You cannot bring out something which is absolutely out of the world. Not possible. Initially, you come up with all sort of mistakes and all sort of irregularities in your research work. But once you start doing it, and definitely, yes, once you start publishing your research work, that is where you get to know that, you are improving in your area of research and you're doing much better. So that way your research can improve, but definitely there is no best research in the world, because if there is something called as best research in the world, after that, what do we have then? We don't have anything to research. So there's nothing called as best. So both the questions, Satvik, I've answered, I guess. Manjunath, ma'am, as a research scholar, what do you prefer? Writing the abstract before the actual paper or writing the abstract after completion of the paper? Okay. See, if I am clear about what is it that I want to do for my research article. See, sometimes what happens when I come up with a research question, I already know how do I collect data for this, how do I analyze it, what results could I possibly expect from this, what innovations can I possibly create from this. When I know all of this, I do the article and then I do the abstract. But sometimes when I really don't know how do I go about doing with all of this, I just prepare a working abstract, and then as and when I do the paper, I do modifications to my abstract. But that doesn't define whether your article is going to be great or not. You either way do it, I guess your article will come out well if your review is good and if your analysis part is good. So if I'm doing it for a book chapter, yes, obviously I'm doing the abstract initially and then I'm doing the actual book chapter because we usually submit an abstract also for the same. But if I'm doing it as a primary data analysis with extensive data collection, I guess I'd prefer doing my paper first and then preparing the abstract. So there's no right way of doing it. It depends, and it is subjective to every researcher. But I do it both the ways. Majority, I do the abstract first and then do the paper. At least if I'm doing it for the conference, I do for any conferences if I'm doing, I do the abstract first and then the actual paper, because abstract gives me clarity on what possible alternatives could I adopt in my research. So I guess I've answered these questions that's posted in the chat box. Any more questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable insight, ma'am.
Welcome,
And I
Danu.
thank Raghava for Q&A sessions. Now, I would also like to acknowledge the valuable contribution of our esteemed head of department, Dr. Nagaraj MS Sir, whose expertise have played a vital role in fostering a culture of research and innovation. Now, I would request Sir to deliver the closing remarks.
Good afternoon. Respected principal in her absence, respected resource person, Mrs. Sneha, event coordinator and convener of the research club, Ms. Bharati, organizing team, faculty members, student participants. Today's topic, exploring horizons of the impact of research in higher education. I do understand it's a very vast topic. The resource person would have also understood the limitations of the time within 1 hour. It's not a capsule that you can just bind it everything and give it to the students. It's a huge topic. I do understand. I think Sneha madam will also acknowledge the same.
Definitely, sir. Especially when we are addressing UG students who literally have no idea or very minimal idea about research. I guess it's very difficult with the available time. It's very difficult to help them understand its importance and, you know, motivate them immediately to start off with research. It's
Exactly. See, this is only an initiative. It's not that it's not the end of anything. It's only a beginning, and it's a process. It's a journey, and the research is nothing that a day comes and you are end of it. No, it's a journey. It's a beginning of the journey for the undergrads. The irony of this is our university, in Bangalore City University, doesn't have a subject relating to the research. The students doesn't have neither research methodology or quantitative techniques or anything of that sort. And in fact, they do not have a project which they need to prepare. So the exposure towards the research is very minimal. And just in order to bring a flavor to this, of course, the onus is on the institution that we need to bring a flavor of this the research to the students. So for that purpose, we in the Department of Commerce have created various academic centers, and out of that, the research club is also the one. The research convener, Ms. Bharati, has taken the initiative, and through her and through this club, there are quite a number of research papers that has been published through students, of course, by mentoring of the faculty members. So with this limited exposure the students are having, we are making our efforts to ensure that the students are having a bit of idea. Of course, when they go to the PG level, they find that it's very surprising that they take up a research project where they don't have studied. Especially in BCom, BBA program, they have a project, but when it comes to BCom, the students doesn't have. So setting up part for all this, now this is the research gap. We can also consider this as a gap where we have plugged it through our research club, and I would appreciate the research committee convener, all the organizing committee, Mr. Gokul, the technical support, and others, because I don't want to bore more on talking about all this. So thank you very much for all your efforts, and I want to thank our the resource person, Mrs. Sneha. I know it was a short time invitation for you due to some unavoidable circumstances. In spite of all that, you have accepted our invitation and you have made it the program. And of course, it was really excellent. For a beginner, I think that you have covered all the aspects of the research. Thank you very much for your time and efforts that you have put in. And I also wish all my students just the beginning, and there are quite a few things that we will take up in our research club. Now now that you have understood the meaning of a research and the process that is involved in the research, we would bring in more such seminars and webinars or a workshop in which you students are involved in writing the research papers. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I would request convener of Research Club and the backbone of this event, Ms. Bharati ma'am, to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pooja. Good evening, everyone. I am Bharti NS, Convener Research Club, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce. I would like to express my gratitude for the resource person of the webinar, that is Mrs. Neha V, without whom this event would not be made successful. Thank you so much in that this short notice, she made it possible with such vast topic, and it was very effective, very interactive. We can find it through the questions that has been posted on the chat box. Thank you so much, Sneha ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bharti. I should actually thank the head of the department, Dr. Nagraj sir, Principal Dr. Geeta ma'am, and definitely you, Ms. Bharti. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I guess I don't know whether I've done justice to the topic that was given to me or not, but at least it was a very good opportunity for me to express whatever I knew about the topic. So yes, I am really happy for this chance, and thank you so much for giving me this one.
Thank you so much. I thank our principal, Dr. Geeta ma'am, for her continuous support and guidance to make this event happen a resounding success, and also her dedication and support towards student growth and development. And I thank our HOD, Department of Commerce, Dr. Nagraj sir, for his immense support and encouragement in everything that we do. He's the one who initiated this research club. This is his brainchild, but it's an opportunity that we are carrying forward his idea to be successful, and he's giving us 100% support for all the events that we conduct at any moment that we are asking him for the support. Thank you so much, sir.
One thing that I really felt happy over here is at the UG level, research is being told about, it's talked about. So that is really very, very good to hear that people are talking about research at the UG level only, because usually when we studied, we never had research.
Yes.
We never knew about it. And even if we look at the curriculum that's built for the other UG institutions, nobody talks about research. So that you've taken initiative to do all of this, I guess a little more interest, enthusiasm, and motivation from the students' end can create wonders from the institution, I guess.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, madam. Thank you, Bharati madam.
Thank you, sir. I also extend my thanks to Mr. Gokul, member IQAC, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, for all his assistance technically throughout the webinar organizing as well as behind the scenes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And I thank the organizing team members of the event for the tireless support. And the organizing team is right visible in this screen to you. All my students, Ms. Sanjana, Pooja, Manjunath, Hemant, Raghava, Satvik, Yashwant, Praveen. So all of them, thank you so much. And also I thank all the student participants who made this event successfully by the participation. Your interest has made this event successful. Thank you one and all present here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Once again, I thank everybody for gracing this event with your presence. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
May I leave the meeting, Ms. Bharti? Can I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Nice meeting all of you. Bye bye.
Bye. Dear students, kindly fill the form that has been posted to you, the feedback form link which is available to you here for the e-certificates and the attendance. Filling in feedback form is necessary for recording your attendance as well as your e-certificates. So quickly finish it so that we can wind up the session.